Ozark hieroglyph tablet, Sharp County record, Evening Shade, Arkansas, June 18, 1897. Dr. Curry's Ozark hieroglyph tablets, ancient battle records of North Arkansas. Dr. E.S. Curry, a reclusive congregational minister and self-taught archaeologist based in Thayer, Missouri, spent over 50 years hunting relics of lost civilizations across North America. From Lake Superior to Dakota Caves, Michigan, Oregon, Kansas, and Indian Territory. Trained in Native American languages and pictographic writing during his Canadian youth, he built a vast collection of hieroglyphic tablets, copper tools, stone implements, a giant's tooth, and a color-changing barometer stone that supposedly predicted weather. After settling near the Arkansas border in the late 1880s, Curry zeroed in on the southern Ozarks' geological wonders: Grand Gulf Cavern, Mammoth Spring, and northern Arkansas swamps and hills, where native traditions marked ancient landmarks. His most prized discoveries came from Arkansas soil, supporting theories of biblical giants, earthly cataclysms, and stellar influences on prehistory. In 1886, he excavated mounds in Arkansas Delta swamps near Marked Tree in Poinsett County, unearthing intriguing relics hinting at early inhabitants. Then came the tablets. 1888 at Evening Shade in Sharp County, 1895 along the 11-Point River in Randolph County, 1896 at Hardy in Sharp County. These pyramidal stones, about 18 inches long and covered in pictographic hieroglyphs, formed a continental series chronicling ancient events. One pivotal tablet predicted by Curry years earlier with uncanny detail and witnessed by Thayer's Mrs. White depicted a massive prehistoric battle near the Missouri-Arkansas border. Its inscriptions matched his description exactly. Arkansas's Ozark fringes proved a key repository for these connecting links, fueling Curry's upcoming 4-volume work blending scripture, indigenous lore, and archaeology. Though based in Missouri, his frequent digs cemented northern Arkansas as central to unlocking America's hidden history through its enigmatic stone records. Number 31. Pecan Point Death Masks. The Central Presbyterian, Richmond, Virginia, August 20th, 1884, and the Times, Washington, D.C., April 14th, 1901. Pecan Point Portrait Heads. Arkansas Mound Death Masks of a Lost Race. Near Pecan Point, Arkansas, Smithsonian professors Norris and Middleton unearthed extraordinary clay portrait heads from ancient burial mounds, lifelike earthenware faces believed to be death masks or funerary vases of a vanished people who predated historic tribes in the Mississippi Valley. The finest specimen, 2/3 life-size, about 5 inches high and wide, depicts a young woman with a round face, small, slightly sunken nose, well-shaped features, closed eyes, parted red lips showing teeth, and large realistically pierced ears along the margins and septum, suggesting elaborate jewelry, even in death. Straight, interlacing, scratchy lines cross the face ear to ear like tattoos or ceremonial paint, while a forehead crown or perforated knob flows into a triangular red-painted headdress or soft cloth cap with pointed ends and raised layers, polished to a high sheen over yellowish-gray, shell-tempered clay. 2 smaller matching heads by the same hand share the piercings, rounded foreheads, projecting mouths, and incised patterns. Vertical comb-like marks on one side, a grappling hook symbol encircling the eye, horizontal and curved lines near the mouth, evoking Mexican terracotta traditions. These thin-walled vessels, with crown openings and interiors contoured to the face, stood apart from classic Indian physiognomy. Their fine enameling rivaled top Mississippi Valley ceramics. Other mound finds included skulls, mortars, pestles for corn grinding, and vases topped with animal heads, a hooded serpent, turtle, duck, mice, bats, and totems, hinting at rich symbolism. Observers noted striking resemblances to Egyptian mummies, fueling speculation of a distinct prehistoric race whose personalized death portraits captured their features for the afterlife. Number 32. Seated Skeleton Mound. Find the Washington Times, Washington, D.C., September 4th, 1904, and the Colfax Chronicle, Colfax, Grant Parish, Louisiana, October 8th, 1904. Howland's Seated Skeleton and Mound Pottery Treasures. In early 1900s, Little Rock, collector Frank Howland amassed one of Arkansas's most remarkable private collections over 30 years, housed in a custom home with plate glass shelves and graduated cases displaying global minerals, Mexican opals, Pacific Island stones, massive 120-pound diamond rock, quartz with visible gold pockets or trapped water droplets, and prized Arkansas gems like freshwater pearls from northeastern rivers, and a perfect hot springs quartz crystal cross, called Arkansas diamonds, mounted on black velvet in a gold frame. The true stars were his Indian relics, especially pottery acquired personally or supervised, beaded work, leather goods, rare head-shaped vessels, animal design pieces, large bowls, and hundreds of arrowheads showing ancient stone weapon styles, plus petrified wood showcasing state geology. Howland's standout discovery came from excavating an Arkansas mound, where he unearthed a pottery bowl clutched in the skeletal hands of a Native American buried in a seated posture beneath layers of sand, accompanied by a string of wampum beads, offering direct evidence of prehistoric burial rituals. This seated skeleton with clutched bowl and beads provided a haunting glimpse into Arkansas's ancient inhabitants, elevating Howland's collection to national significance as a window into the state's mound builder past. Number 33. Lost Chinese Metropolis, Daily Intermountain, Butte, Montana, April 11, 1899. Lamar Fontaine uncovered a vast mound builder metropolis under Arkansas's Ashley, Desha, and Drew counties, over 50,000 acres for potentially 11 million people. He theorized they were peaceful Chinese or Kamchatal sun worshippers, tracing matching pottery from China via Kamchatka, Aleutians, Alaska, and Mississippi tributaries. Fontaine cited a Chinese legend he heard there. Genghis Khan's 1.5 million man army split post-death. He believed the driven-off fierce Tartars reached America as Comanche ancestors, matching scalp-lock knife and arrow customs, but rejected this for non-warlike mound builders. He thought their burials proved it. Mostly female child skeletons, no adult males, in red-black glazed pottery caskets etched with sun faces and grain bowls for spirit journeys. Mirroring Chinese rites, glaze-used Gulf shell lime boated up the Mississippi, no local limestone, forming shell mounds and jars amid canals, forts, and space for 2.4 million homes. Fontaine drew from 6 years traveling with his cousin, geographer Matthew Fontaine Maury, on the USS Vincennes, plus a historical claim from China's ancient records. In 499 AD, traveler Hoei Xin visited Fusang, a distant land reached 10,000 kilometers east across the Pacific, with tall trees whose bark made cloth and peaceful tattooed people without weapons, described in Chambers' Higher History of the United States as matching southwestern U.S. shores by direction, distance, and features. Despite ridicule, Fontaine offered site visits and giant-jawed skulls and relics, many fire lost in Leon, Mississippi, urging study of what plague or strife ended them. Number 34. Ozark Cave Dwellers' Secrets, the Ely Miner, Ely, Minnesota, July 15, 1932. Primitive cave dwellers of the Ozarks. Smithsonian uncovers ancient burials and art in northern Arkansas hills. In the 1920s, Smithsonian anthropologist Winslow M. Walker conducted excavations in the Ozark Hills of northern Arkansas, revealing traces of a primitive cave-dwelling people who cannot be definitively linked to known Native American groups, but resemble the Ozark bluff dwellers. In the largest cavern explored, Walker uncovered 10 human burials representing about 12 individuals, 6 very young children and infants, 2 men, 1 woman, and an adolescent boy. Nearby, a dog's bones were positioned with crossed forelegs, suggesting it was a cherished pet buried intentionally. Artifacts included crude, undecorated, flat-bottom pottery, flint tools like spear and javelin heads, knives, drills, and scrapers showing basic workmanship, water-worn stone hammers and grinders, mussel shells as spoons and scraped turtle shells as bowls, and a notched antler tip from an atlatl, a throwing stick, a weapon more ancient than the bow and arrow. Clearing the cave took nearly 3 weeks, removing up to 5 feet of ash, charcoal, and dirt. Artistic remnants featured petroglyphs, carved rock pictures and symbols, at 2 sites, and red ochre paintings in a rock shelter depicting humans, snakes, animal tracks, sun, moon, stars, and abstract forms, likely the work of Indians based on nearby pottery, flint, and bone in ash piles. In a field miles away, 33 flat rocks at ground level bore nearly obliterated petroglyphs, geometric circles, dots, human hands and footprints, animal tracks dusted with sand to reveal them. possibly ceremonial records of clan or tribal gatherings. An enormous sandstone cave held deeply carved petroglyphs up to 1/2 inch. Realistic men, turtles, birds, animals, geometric diamonds, bars, discs, and conventionalized humans plus a horse-like figure. Local legends claim Spanish origins with fruitless gold digs, but variations across sites within 100 miles suggest different tribes or purposes, potentially Osage or Cherokee, who inhabited the region, though unconfirmed. These diverse, unexplained sites fuel speculation on the dwellers' identity, migrations, and rituals in Arkansas's rugged Ozarks. Number 35. Mystery Grotesque Bowl, the New Haven Union, New Haven, Connecticut, December 11, 1905. A striking prehistoric relic unearthed in Arkansas showcases the artistry of an ancient people whose identity remains unknown. This ornately decorated bowl features grotesque heads carved into its surface, suggesting use by primitive inhabitants long before Columbus arrived. No expert has yet classified its makers, leaving it as a tantalizing enigma of the state's mysterious past. Number 36. Ozark Bluff Dweller. Pottery Malvern Times Journal, Malvern, Arkansas, April 5, 1923. High Foundation digs. Arkansas Ozark Pottery Hall. For 2 years, the High Foundation's Ozark expedition has quietly unearthed Arkansas's ancient secrets, now showcased in their New York City Museum at Broadway and 155th Street. George G. High, the philanthropist founder, has expanded the Museum of the American Indian to house these growing treasures, including fine pottery from Arkansas mounds like Toltec near Lone Oak, though Smithsonian labels omit state origins. Near Eureka Springs last summer, archaeologist Raymond E. Harrington discovered exceptional pottery under White River cliffs, plus recent human skeletons dated 1,000 to 1,500 years old from the same high bluffs. These bluff dwellers lived low under overhanging rock shelters above rivers, not to be confused with western cliff dwellers building high in the walls. The team, now shifted to southern Missouri, follows DeSoto-era clues of advanced civilizations that baffled 16th century Spaniards. Number 37. Billiken Mound Enigma. The Pickens Sentinel Journal, Pickens, South Carolina, July 6, 1911. Enigma of the Billiken. Unearthing ancient secrets in Arkansas River mounds. In the prehistoric mound cemeteries scattered along Arkansas's winding rivers, a team from the Philadelphia Academy of Natural Sciences made a groundbreaking claim. They had discovered the original home of the mysterious Billiken. Led by Professor Clarence B. Moore, the field committee spent the year exploring and opening ancient mounds on the St. Francis, Little, White, and Black Rivers in eastern and central Arkansas. Their efforts uncovered a vast treasure trove of relics, including hundreds of skulls, 86 boxes of which were shipped to the United States National Museum for further study. The expedition proved remarkably thorough. On the St. Francis River alone, they visited 19 prehistoric cemeteries and opened an astonishing 670 graves. 15 more cemeteries were searched along the White River, 2 on the Little River, and 11 on the Black River. Though denied permission to dig mounds north of Lepanto on the St. Francis, their work in the basin yielded thousands of pottery pieces, noted more for sheer quantity than exceptional quality, with only a few rivaling the finest from other regions. Among the finds were evidence of ancient cremation practices and rare beads crafted from native copper, hinting at sophisticated metalworking among these long-vanished people. This intensive excavation shed new light on Arkansas's mound-building cultures, whose elaborate burial sites and artifacts continue to puzzle researchers about their origins, rituals, and the elusive Billiken enigma tied to these watery lowlands. Number 38. Revived Ancient Corn. The Plain Dealer, April 4, 1904. Eternal Harvest. Ancient multicolored corn revived from an Arkansas mound. Several years ago, during the excavation of an Indian mound in Arkansas, workers unearthed a hermetically sealed earthen jar containing a small quantity of grains of true Indian corn, believed to have lain buried for about 300 years beneath a massive tree 4 feet in diameter that had grown atop the site. Some of these ancient grains were planted the following year in Missouri, where they sprouted and produced several bushels of corn, proving their remarkable viability after centuries underground. One enthusiastic farmer, Squire James L. Neal, a prosperous and progressive grower from Harrodsburg, Kentucky, heard of the discovery and paid over 2 cents per grain to obtain a small quantity. Though drought limited his first year's yield, he saved enough seed for a strong patch the next season. Neil raved about the corn for roasting ears, declaring it the finest he had ever tasted. The ears were not overly large, but often grew 2 or 3 to a single stalk. Most striking of all was the corn's extraordinary colors. On the same cob, grains appeared in vivid hues: pure white, blood red, salmon pink, and deep black, creating a dazzling rainbow effect that set this ancient variety apart. This wondrous revival from an Arkansas prehistoric mound offered a living link to the agricultural genius of long-vanished native peoples, whose colorful maize once sustained thriving communities across the region. Number 39. Mayan Figurine Mystery, Alternate Perceptions Magazine, May 2016, by Dr. Greg Little. Maya in Arkansas, genuine Yucatan figurine unearthed from a cave. In the late 1970s, a 4-inch seated Mayan figurine in elaborate headgear turned up in a cave in west central Arkansas, now showcased at Fort Smith's Museum of History amid exhibits on local native history and the Hanging Judge era. UCLA anthropologists authenticated it as a genuine late classic period artifact, AD 600 to 800, from Mexico's Yucatan, likely part of a larger bowl, prompting the riddle. How did this tropical relic reach landlocked Arkansas over 1,000 miles north? The standard theory pins it on Hernando de Soto's 1541 expedition, which wintered near Hot Springs. Looted goods from prior Central American raids by his 620 ragged conquistadors might have been stashed in caves to lighten loads, though de Soto never hit Yucatan, and his troops were already depleted by Arkansas. Number 40. Poverty Point Stone Figurine, Arkansas. Archaeological Survey, August 2018, by John H. House. Poverty Point Puzzle, ancient stone figurine unearthed at Arkansas Paper Mill. In August 1978, Bill Parker of Pine Bluff unearthed a rare 72mm dark gray shale figurine, rectangular cross-section, weathered reddish-brown patina, rectangular eyes and mouth incised in classic Poverty Point style. During construction at a paper mill in Jefferson County, Arkansas, on the West Gulf coastal plain, overlooking a bayou draining to the Arkansas River floodplain, accompanied by 52 novaculite lithic flakes, 89% by weight, and a grog-tempered sherd. The fine spot aligns with Poverty Point culture, 2000 to 700 BC, known for mound building and long-distance trade from Louisiana's lower Mississippi Valley, mirroring features on Louisiana clay figurines and a Mississippi jasper tablet noted by archaeologist Clarence Webb. Donated to the Arkansas Archaeological Survey's UAPB station, the intact piece, now cracked with mineral residue, reveals early Arkansas ties to a sophisticated prehistoric network without iron tools. Number 41. Mississippian Copper Plates Wikipedia. Arkansas Copper Plates, Mississippian elite treasures of eastern sites. Mississippian Copper Plates, Ripusi sheets of Great Lakes native copper depicting raptors, dancing warriors, and symbolic motifs, served as elite status symbols across the Midwest and Southeast from AD 800 to 1600, revealing the southeastern ceremonial complex's vast trade networks originating from workshops like Cahokia's Mound 34. Arkansas boasts several key finds in eastern sites. Rosemound and Scott Place plates share identical chest designs and tail feathers suggesting a single artist. Clay Hill in Lee County yielded a fragmented 14-inch avian-themed example, and Toole Creek in Baxter County produced an 8-inch bird motif plate in an adult burial with limestone ear spools, shell dipper, and chert knife. Its whereabouts now unknown. These join Parkin and Neely's Ferry fragments, linking Arkansas polities to Cahokia's Braden-style and Etowah trade hubs. Number 42. Missouri Cave Dwellers near Arkansas. The Daily Journal, Salem, Oregon, June 11, 1903, and The Manitowoc Pilot, Manitowoc, Wisconsin, June 18, 1903. Southwest Missouri Cave Dwellers. Ancient skeletons 4 miles from Arkansas. Deep in southwest Missouri, just 4 miles north of the Arkansas state line and 12 miles east of Indian Territory, a limestone cave chamber 70 feet long revealed stunning evidence of prehistoric cave dwellers. Local Arkansas archaeologist E.H. Jacobs from Bentonville first spotted the site and called in national experts: Dr. Charles Peabody from Phillips Academy in Andover, Massachusetts, Dr. Holmes from Washington's Bureau of Ethnology, and Professor C.N. Gould from the University of Oklahoma. For 2 weeks, 10 men excavated through 3 feet of ashes blanketing the floor, some 5,000 cubic feet from ancient fires. Walls smoothed by generations of use resembled Mycenaean sheepfolds. Massive stalactites along the back wall had formed atop the ash layer, signaling thousands of years of abandonment. From the debris emerged 4 human skeletons with unusually long arms and very short legs, hallmarks of a distinct prehistoric race, plus animal bones and abundant tools, flint knives, spearheads, drills, plus bone and stone implements. Hailed as America's first true cavemen discovery, rivaling Europe's rare Angus, Neanderthal, and spy skulls, this find stood alongside only 4 other confirmed prehistoric skeletons worldwide. America's prior claim being California's debated Calaveras specimen. Though full geological dating awaited Professor Gould's analysis, the site's features positioned it as a breakthrough tantalizingly close to Arkansas. Number 43, Eden's Bluff Gold Maps. South Bend, News Times, South Bend, Indiana, January 31st, 1922, Morning Edition. Eden's Bluff Spanish Gold Maps. Arkansas Ozark Treasure Code unlocked. In the early 1900s, treasure hunter Anthony Finninger announced from Denver's Windsor Hotel and Springfield, Missouri, a stunning breakthrough in a 150-year-old quest for Spanish gold, initially reported as $500,000 in bullion, later inflated to $2,500,000, hidden by settlers in the rugged White River Ozarks of Arkansas to evade hostile Indians. While squirrel hunting near Eden's Bluff, Finninger stumbled across a moss and dirt-covered stone slab bearing mysterious hieroglyphics. A local identified it as the long-lost key sought by the Spanish government just 22 years earlier during an extensive but fruitless hunt. Using this key slab, Finninger located 3 additional carved stone maps across a 15-acre tract east of the bluff, guiding him to a caved-in, weed-choked Spanish shaft and tunnel, the main entrance to an underground cache showing clear mining signs. He and his new landowner partner began digging but halted, lacking equipment to penetrate deeper and fearing deadly arsenic gas emitted by the rare gold ore below. Forming a company with Denver businessmen, Finninger planned a spring expedition with proper gear to neutralize the gas and claim the prize. The saga deepened with grim legend. The original settlers were killed by Indians post-burial, while later native Arkansans rediscovered a tunnel to the cache, only for a deadly landslide to kill one and seal their effort. This hieroglyphic clue fueled enduring Ozark treasure lore of Spanish conquistadors hiding riches in caves and bluffs, complete with booby traps, ghosts, or poisonous vapors guarding the gold amid Arkansas's ancient wilderness. Number 44, Ozark Main Street Ruins, South Bend News Times, South Bend, Indiana, June 1st, 1923. Ozark Cliffside Main Street of a vanished people. Under the overhanging bluffs of the Ozark Mountains in northwestern Arkansas, archaeologists uncovered what they called a main street from the year 923, a forgotten community preserved in the dry cliff walls. For nearly 5 miles along a lonely river valley, a vanished bluff-dwelling people built their homes in shallow caves, lit their campfires, and buried their dead almost at their very doorsteps, leaving behind a ghostly streetscape frozen in time. Because the Arkansas bluffs were so dry, things that should have rotted away centuries ago survived almost untouched. Wood, grass, even woven fibers. Excavators pulled from the dust a shell hoe with its handle still attached, a flint axe with its original wooden haft, a wooden throwing stick, and a baby's cradle carefully made out of cane, tools and belongings that looked as if their owners might return at any moment. There was even a woven grass bag, the kind this mysterious people once carried, still packed with ancient seeds that had sat undisturbed on the bluff ledge for 1,000 years. From these relics, investigators could piece together the lives of the Ozark bluff dwellers, who once called this Arkansas Canyon home. They were not giants or monsters, but people of normal size who planted corn, squash, and beans, hunted buffalo for meat and hides, and kept dogs as companions around their cliffside homes. They buried their dead close by, often right in the yard beside the dwelling under the shelter of the rock, so that the living and the dead shared the same narrow strip of ground beneath the overhanging bluff. The work in this secluded Arkansas Valley was carried out by an expedition for the Museum of the American Indian High Foundation, which saw the find as one of the great archaeological discoveries of its time. As the team pushed farther along the river, mapping how far this culture had spread, That quiet Ozark Main Street was transformed from a forgotten cliff into a rare window on a vanished race, whose daily life, tools, food, pets, and burial customs had been sealed into the dry Arkansas rock since the early Middle Ages.
Look at
Number
this pottery
45.
shard. The pattern is intact, and this
White
woven
River
fragment
Bluff
is
relics.
remarkably preserved.
The Bismarck Tribune, Bismarck, North Dakota, April 6th, 1923. Ozark Bluff Dwellers. Ancient relics from Arkansas's White River. An expedition
Sir,
from New York City's
I think we've
Museum
got
of the
something
American
here.
Indian
Excellent. Note
High
the position.
Foundation is excavating rock shelters under limestone bluffs along the White and Cowskin rivers in the Missouri-Arkansas Ozarks. Led by M.R. Harrington, the team uncovers relics from Ozark Bluff Dwellers, a prehistoric race over 1,000 years old, plus newer Osage-related artifacts from 300 to 400 years ago. Finds include pristine basketry, woven textiles, wooden items, stone and bone tools, and pottery, preserved in dry deposits. No European traces appear. Major digs targeted Carroll and Benton counties along the upper White River, between Eureka Springs and Rogers, near Mundell and Annie, yielding rare perishables like baskets and fabrics unknown east of Utah. Work there ran from May 1922 until February 1923, when the team shifted to Missouri's Cowskin River near Elk Springs and Noel. Number 46. Ozark Vandalism. Crisis Evening Star, Washington, D.C., September 28, 1933. Ozark Vandalism Crisis. Protecting Arkansas's prehistoric sites. Archaeologists in Springfield, Missouri, urgently seek laws to halt treasure hunters destroying Ozark relics while digging for hidden gold. These vandals rob science of ancient history for tourist dollars, threatening to erase the final records of lost Indian cultures. 3 eras mark Ozark habitation: the oldest buried cities, then bluff and cliff dwellers along streams, and finally tribes present at European arrival. As part of the greater Ozark region spanning Missouri and Arkansas, these sites include bluff dweller shelters along Arkansas streams like the White River, echoing recent high foundation digs in Carroll and Benton counties. Stone tablets with pictograph writing, resembling hieroglyphs, have surfaced here, alongside vast, buried cities of low mounds in regular formation, some a mile by 8 miles across. Field museum experts estimate 3 to 5 years for proper excavation, while private leases may safeguard key spots until funding arrives. Sterling Newberry warns that without action, the last pages of Ozark prehistory vanish forever.